tiredness, tiredness. So I had this horrific gout attack. Obviously I was exhausted at the time, I had kidney failure. And I hobbled all the way up to see Mooji in Brixton, where he has this little room, which many of you might have seen. And then he took me to this tiny little, he's got almost like a big closet, like which is for storage, but he converted it into the tiniest of offices, and he had all these tapes, I guess, of him that he had done, lining all the walls. And and he put a voice recorder on to record the thing, because this was probably a long time ago, I guess 10 years or so. Little voice recorder to record the thing. And so he was asking me, who am I, what am I? And I told him, the best I can do with self-inquiry is like I can visualize like there's a kind of a witnessing screen behind me that's watching everything. So I said that to him. And he said, is there a man behind the screen? Go and have a look. And then I had the white light spiritual experience, and it was like, I've described it so many times. The whole world disappeared. There was nothing. There was just intense light, power, and love. And it was, the best way was actually described in the Course. It's like, it says something like it'll be 10,000 times more. The experience will be 10,000 more than anything you can imagine. And those were the right words, because it's indescribable. It's like the intensity of light and love and power is not comparable to anything. And it seemed like I was there, even though there was no me there for a while. And then it was like something like thoughts trying to emerge, but they wouldn't emerge because they'd like burn out because it was too intense. And then suddenly a thought did emerge, and there was some kind of attention to that thought. And then in that split second, it was like Mooji was in front of me, I was in my body, and the whole world existed. So it's like that, latching on to that thought was enough to bring me back into existence. But the thing with what was being shared, what you were sharing, is that, I was exhausted, I had a horrific gout attack in my feet, I could barely walk. And after that white light spiritual experience, when I was sitting there, I was blissed out, I didn't want to move. But he just sort of shoved me out and said, you're done now, because I wouldn't be able to speak at that point.
Had your piece of heaven.
He was aware that trying to communicate to me for too long was probably not the useful thing. It was like, job done very quickly. And then I didn't notice, there was no pain in the feet, and I had tons of energy. And I just walked out. And and he told me it was I think it was when we went to to his latest one, that it was an autumn day. Because my memories of it was like it was a summer's day after I went out. It was like the intensity and the beauty of everything was like it was full sunlight, and there was energy, and there was no pain, even though gout is like a huge inflammation. No pain in my foot, I didn't notice it had any pain. There was no tiredness. So that's the thing, it's like when you let go of the interest in the identification with the body and tiredness and all of that, it's like infinite energy, unlimited energy. And there was one other, I might bring it in one of these days, where I met Mooji for a one-to-one. I've got it on DVD. And I was really, really exhausted. And he said to me, what happened? Because he'd shared you'd have the white lights, what happened? And then, and then he started asking these questions, like who's tired or whatever. I'll try and bring it in. And then within about 10 minutes, there was nothing. There was no exhaustion, no tiredness. It had all vanished. So my belief in physical illness, or even gout, physical manifestation, once you get to disidentify with it, then it's all gone. One is full of energy. So we'll go now to the cancelling of beliefs. Oh, did you want to check?
Sorry, can I just say something on that one?
Yeah.
When you had that experience,
yes.
Did you actually? Were you able to see actually Mooji?
No, there was no world.
There was no world. You could not see.
Nothing existed.
Oh, wow.
It was just like the awareness of an exquisite, intense love and power. And there was no me, and there was no world, and there was no thought.
Probably if anybody else but you was saying that, I would say they were off the rocker. But that's amazing. I mean,
It's funny you say that because I share, you know, in the 12-step fellowships I go to, I share about it sometimes, you know, the white light spiritual experience. And I had one guy run up to me at the end of the meeting and goes, "Was it drugs? Which drug?"
Tell me the
And
drug.
he looked like he was really, he wanted to know which drug. And he probably got, if I'd said to him, it's like, it's cocaine, he'd probably gone, okay, I'm going to try that. What's a new experimental drug? And I also had this other thing where I had a spiritual experience. The first time, this guy, when I was in a spiritual group, Hans, a German guy, who had gone around the world visiting different spiritual teachers, and he had a really good energy. And he gave me my very first DVD of Hawkins. I didn't even know who Hawkins was. And I put it on the DVD player when I got home. And I had this kind of like, it was like Kundalini, it was like the tingling up and down, and kind of a bliss, I didn't know that was Kundalini at the time, but now I know, and a kind of a blissful thing as Hawkins spoke. And that's how I knew Hawkins would be my teacher. It was through that. That's why I have absolute 100% faith in him. And I followed his teachings to the result that my food addiction has gone and my health has miraculously improved just by following. It was just that spirit. I had the inner recognition he would be my teacher.
So, sorry, you had this experience, sorry. Whilst you were watching the DVD, you had the Kundalini kind of awakening?
No, as soon as his face came on, Kundalini started, and I had this heavenly bliss.
Okay.
And I had an inner recognition, like it was kind of like divinity saying, this is the person you need. He's going to be your prime, he's my prime teacher. And through that, at the time I was a food addict, kidney failure, everything, all of that has... and he was in the 12 steps, you know, and he was the sponsor, the founder, Bill Wilson. Hence I came to AA and OA, and then I came to Course in Miracle groups as well, based on what he said, since he was a Course in Miracles teacher, as you may know. I came here, and it was the devotion, and you know, he's shared that, as a lot of you know, people who did the Course in Miracles had miraculous healings from all kinds of, you know, if it can heal cancer, AIDS, myasthenia gravis, then surely, and also 20 illnesses from Hawkins himself. But you know, the thing with Hawkins is that maybe that's because maybe that's just him. Maybe he's so amazing that it could happen for him. But that he had groups of people where others were released their illnesses as well. Meant that, oh, that must mean that I can as well, not just him. Yeah. You know, other people have done it as well. So it was that as well. So yeah, so just wanted to share that. So as you let go, yes, so yeah, that was, yeah, I didn't take drugs or anything before. before seeing
just
you.
in case you get interested in that.
But apparently there have been some spiritual awakenings on drugs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it wasn't Mooji on his own.
Is that like the Red Indians? I don't know, like, I don't know too much about it. But when they take some kind of drugs and they get some kind of... Because I read that book, I can't remember what it's called. Is it Carlos
Castaneda?
Yeah, I don't think I actually understood what I was reading, but didn't he like take drugs or something?
Yes.
I don't know whether he actually did.
Oh, there's a lot of cultures in there.
Yeah.
Their spiritual leaders taking drugs.
Yeah. A lot of tribal sort of things.
Yeah.
Like the ceremonies involve drugs to get to God. Sacred, yeah.
But I'm not so sure about that. I'd rather just...
Well, yeah, I think we discussed it before. I mean, what Hawkins said is that, you know, if it can be done in a spiritual manner, where I guess you're praying and meditating and praying to be in alignment, so that when you take the drug, it's purely in a spiritual context. There's no other, you know, you have pure alignment. In which case, that can be done in that way. But I think if you're not in spiritual alignment, it can take you to bad dimensions. And the spirit can be very, and of course, as we know from the fellowships, can be addictive. And in and of itself, you become addicted to the experience. So I myself personally don't want to use that, because in the fellowships I've got, it's known how addictive those substances can be. And then if it becomes more addictive, I think with me, I'm lucky in the sense that having a white light spiritual experience I don't think there is any drug that can compare to that in my consciousness.
Yeah.
So it's
exactly.
like I'd rather not try drugs because for me it doesn't feel authentic to do it that way. It feels like the teachings of Mooji and Hawkins and just letting the thoughts go is the right way, and that's the inclination.
Absolutely.
I remember I think it was Hawkins that said something about like there's so many other spirits and dimensions in the world, and it's like this is enough. Like you don't even want to be dealing. You don't even know what's out there. So
Yeah,
that's
a good point. Actually, yes,
there's
definitely.
no point just trying to messing with something that you don't know what.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that on the same line? He talks about things like Ouija boards and contacting, like he talks about what do they call it, angel cards or future cards. He's kind of like, just don't go there.
Yes.
If you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what you're playing with, and like he was saying, just kind of
It's like magicians. I'm really funny, like about magicians. Like I'm not joking. Like I've met a few in this lifetime, and sometimes I feel like this weird like vibe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not that I judge people, but I'm just like I'm not sure about it.
Yeah.
Really.
I think we all can feel evil. You know?
Oh yes.
Some people are on the dark side. I guess what they're doing is calibrating very low.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is that what he was saying in the audible talk about right brain phenomena, or is it left brain phenomena, where he's like, oh, people in Estonia are always like, moving things with their minds and blah blah blah, it's like the latest trick kind of thing, or right brain phenomena, but he's like, obviously some people with the wrong intentions and these kind of phenomena.
Yes. Okay. So like you said, Eamon, it depends on who you're speaking to and what the calibration of the person is that you're speaking to. So we've got just like we're in the physical realm now. So like in this room, someone might calibrate at 200, someone at 300, someone at 400. But if you meet a person in the street, maybe they might be calibrating at 100, which is below 200. So just like in this realm, you can speak to people at different calibrations. So in the spiritual realms as well, there are different energies which live at different calibrations. So it's possible to channel, i.e. to get out of your thoughts and try and contact these realms, or even like I think it's on the Course in Miracles talk he gave. He went to one of those institutes where they train you they have you count down and then skip into the astral domains. And like he was saying, like one of his friends who was married would go into another domain and have lots of amorous contact with others, and then come back and feel guilty and all of that stuff. But you can go to these different domains.
It's like a whole other level of cheating.
Exactly. Different level of cheating, yes.
So you obviously want to go, I want to go back to that place again.
It's ridiculous.
What are you doing with your own?
Absolutely.
There's enough attachments and belief systems.
Absolutely. Exactly. Yes.
Exactly.
No, I never quite understood actually why people want to kind of travel to all these different dimensions.
No.
I don't quite understand myself, to be honest. I don't. All this astral dimensions.
Yes.
I've got enough to deal with on this dimension, let alone messing around with other dimensions. Personally, anyway.
No, that is the advice that Hawkins gives.
Okay.
And it's more or less, he said, intuitive in the Bible. Don't sort of mess around with the other stuff because you don't know where it's going to take you. So I think the calibrations for like the Ouija board is very, very low. It's from a very low energy.
Oh,
so I think it was like 90, the whole intention of it. And the Crawley deck, I think, is very, very low as well. That's, I think, the most famous tarot cards, Crawley calibrated.
Never heard of
much
this. What is that?
Tarot
Tarot card.
Yeah.
The famous
I've
old...
never done tarot.
No, I have, not myself, but I've some have read.
I think I've looked at the pictures. The pictures look quite, you get like a grim reaper. They look quite negative.
They're quite.
Grandma used to do that.
Yeah.
I should get beads as well.
Yeah.
So you can see. So
what about reading coffee?
Reading coffee.
What that's kind of does it kind of calibrate now?
Well, I think something like reading coffee would probably be the intention of the person. But it's just like the intention with which the person who created the system, the intention. Like if you create a set of cards and you're calibrating at 150, which is below 200, then the card and the intention are they're sourced from a very low vibration. So they're not going to really tune you up to a very high dimension. Otherwise, if you're meeting psychics and people, again, it's just what they calibrate at as to what they'll be. Even though it's possible they might be 200, and by mistake they might calibrate to negative energy and get entrapped by that and be seduced by a lower energy, and so unknowingly do things. Also, it's when you get disconnected, you can get taken over by negative energies as well. Also, the thing with people who are giving readings is that they may get entrapped within the lower levels of just trying to make money or whatever. So then their calibration will be below 200 as well. He said it's also just to be very, very careful when you're going to these places, because you don't know what you're dealing with and what kind of, like you were sharing, they may have skills which may seem amazing, but they can be very, very intuitive, but they may not be calibrating very, very high. So they might be able to just tune into your character or read your aura, but their calibration might be low. So you think, oh, she knows that my grandmother said that I should eat the veg. So now you're hooked in, and now she says, oh, well, you should do this, that, and the other, and you must keep coming back every week as well, because I'm going to tell you your fortune. So you don't know, because they'll trap you by saying something which they can read off of you, and then you're trapped in. They can be, but if you're not spiritually aware, you could get the thing. And he also talked a lot about a lot of these cults as well, where they would say things like, these are the teachings of Jesus or whatever, but they could be cults, and also the famous ones like, let's all go out in the desert and commit suicide.
Yeah.
So you can get programmed in an adverse way. With that, I also remember as well, he said like psychic fairs. He made once a funny comment in one of the lectures, like people who go to, because there's so much psychic stuff around in Sedona, all kinds of psychics and mediums, and he said, it's like when you come in, your aura gets pasted with all kinds of negative energies when you go in there. So it's like, so to be aware. Sometimes you can be walking in these places, and you can just pick up things in your aura. Okay, so that was a good thing. My own thing is just, I think I'm developing an intuitive connection just by doing basic spiritual work. So I just get like an intuition, do this, do that. Like I shared before with Demetra, I had the intuition, I was looking for a group and I had this intuition to contact Demetra. Right. And I didn't go to a psychic to get that. I didn't go and get my tarot cards read.
Contact
Yes.
That would have been amazing.
Give me £30. Okay, the cards tell me you should be contacting someone with blonde hair that you've known in the past many years ago. That just naturally came through doing the course and 12 steps. So I trust that. Okay, so shall we get on to the cancellings? Oh, sorry, yes, I forgot.
I don't have right now anything to share.
Okay.
That's fine.
Could I just share something quickly? For maybe the last year or so, I go to Sainsbury's a lot.
Yes.
And there's no guy that sits by Sainsbury's begging.
Oh yes.
And he's a white beard and the whole thing. And so the first couple of times I saw him, he'd ask, he'd asking for money, and then he'd say, "Well, have a nice day."
Yes.
And which is kind of, you know, you should have given me money, but I thought he should be really saying, because a lot of them do that. It's kind of being sarcastic.
Yes.
And but the other day I noticed you probably all do have an accumulation of pennies.
Oh, yes.
So I took a bag and I put them all in, and I'm going and I gave them to him and talked to him for a few minutes. It turned out to be really nice. And before this, I kind of noticed that a lot of people would stop to talk to him.
Yes.
And I said, well, if he's that greedy, then he wouldn't bother engage these people in conversation, so he must be okay. And then when I noticed since that when he says, he really does, people want them to have a nice day.
Ah.
He just has a big heart.
Yeah.
So I was completely wrong about him.
Yes.
I thought he was just a greedy old man.
Actually, I have noticed some, quite often it's that have a nice day. I'm actually sometimes really, it happened to me one day, actually I turned around and I gave, I didn't give this person anything. And because they have a nice day, I knew that it was not sarcastic in any way.
Yes.
It was almost like, he was saying, have a nice day. And I thought it was almost like having non-attachment to whether I gave him the money or not. And something inside me, I felt, it felt almost like something touched me, and I just turned around after that, I kept walking, and I thought, gosh, you know what, it's just, right, I didn't give him but he gave, it sounded out of his heart, have a nice day, and I walked quite a bit, and I was thinking about it, there's something inside me, and I just turned around,
yes.
and I went back and gave him money.
Ah, yes.
That's the same with this guy.
Because
I know now that
he
really means he's just giving out love.
Yes.
Yes, I think so. A lot of them actually do.
Yeah.
Which is lovely, really. Just very beautiful, actually.
I think it's also good as well. It's what goes around comes around. If you spread love, then put love into
we can
universe.
easily make a judgment. I was completely wrong about I judged him.
Yes. Yeah, that's a lovely story. I would try and do that as well if I become a beggar on the streets.
Keep sending love.
Just pray for everyone. Well, it is my commitment anyway to unconditional love, to love everyone equally at all times. So if God made me into a street beggar, I'd try my best. No money.
Try your best.
Not get grumpy when no one gives any money.
Okay, God, I'll do it. I'll do your work from here, from the street. Okay.